Welcome to the book summary, where we don't just read books, we break them down into clear, powerful lessons that stay with you for life. Today, we're unpacking a book that doesn't teach you how to get rich, it teaches you how to think about money differently. The book is The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This isn't a typical finance manual. It's a journey through human behavior, decision-making, and the emotional side of wealth. Because money, believe it or not, is rarely about knowledge. It's about how you behave when no one's watching. In this summary, you'll learn why people make what seem like crazy financial decisions. How luck and timing shape fortunes more than skill. The trap of constantly chasing more, and why it leads to stress. Why getting rich is one skill, and staying rich is a completely different one. And the number one secret of financial peace, long-term consistency. If you've ever felt uncertain about money, your goals, or your future, this episode is for you. Let's dive into the mindset behind money. Chapter 1. No one's crazy. One of the most powerful ideas from this book is the simple but profound statement, no one's crazy. Think about that for a moment. We all see people doing things with money that just seem wild, right? Maybe it's a massive impulse purchase or an investment decision that feels completely illogical. But here's the kicker. To them, in that moment, it makes perfect sense. Every financial choice we make is rooted in our unique life experiences. We're talking about people from different generations, raised by different parents with different incomes and values, living in different parts of the world, experiencing different job markets. All of this shapes how we view money. Imagine someone who grew up in extreme poverty. Their understanding of risk and reward is going to be vastly different from the child of a wealthy banker. Or consider someone who lived through a period of sky-high inflation. They'll have a completely different emotional response to prices than someone who's only known stable economic times. These personal experiences, even if they're just a tiny fraction of global events, form about 80% of how you think the world works. For instance, the book shares the example of low-income households spending significant amounts on lottery tickets, a decision that might seem crazy to wealthier individuals, but for the buyers, it's a purchase of a tangible dream, of a better life they otherwise can't attain. So, when someone does something that seems crazy to you, remember, it's just their unique mental model of the world at play. It's why an ordinary person with good behavioral habits can build significant wealth, while a certified genius can make financial decisions that lead to disaster if they lose control of their emotions. The key insight here is that financial success is a soft skill, not a hard science. Chapter 2. Luck and Risk. This brings us to another critical insight, the role of luck and risk. These two are like siblings in the story of financial success. They're always there, often invisible, and powerfully shaping outcomes beyond individual effort. Morgan Housel shares a truly eye-opening story about Bill Gates and a lesser-known peer named Ken Evans. Gates and Evans were best friends in high school, both computer prodigies, both incredibly ambitious, both schemed together about becoming CEOs. Kent was, by Gates's own admission, the best student. They even worked together on computer programs for their school. But Kent tragically died in a mountain climbing accident before he could go to college with Bill. Imagine that. He had all the skill, all the drive, but one unfortunate stroke of risk changed everything. This story, and countless others, reveals how difficult it is to separate skill from luck. We love to create clean narratives. He succeeded because he was brilliant, or she failed because of a bad decision. But in reality, someone else's failure might just be the unfortunate side of risk, while a rich investor's success might be due to an incredibly lucky, even reckless, decision. It's almost impossible to definitively say, this was skill, this was luck. The lesson here isn't to diminish hard work, but to humbly recognize that outcomes are rarely as good or as bad as they seem, and to focus on broad patterns rather than just extreme individual examples, as extreme outcomes are often least applicable to others' lives. Chapter 3. Never enough. Now, let's talk about something incredibly common and incredibly dangerous, the moving goalpost, or the idea of never enough. We see this everywhere, especially with money. Morgan shares the stories of Rajat Gupta, a McKinsey CEO reportedly worth $100 million, and Bernie Madoff, whose legitimate business was hugely successful. Yet, both risked and lost everything in pursuit of more. They had unimaginable wealth, prestige, and freedom, but they threw it all away because they had no sense of enough. It's an extreme example, but the principle applies to all of us. The hardest financial skill isn't making money, it's getting the goalpost to stop moving. If your expectations for what money can do for you rise faster than your income, you'll constantly feel like you're falling behind, no matter how much you earn. This endless social comparison, seeing what others have and feeling like you need it too, is a battle that can never be won. Mike Trout, an incredibly wealthy baseball player, still compares himself to top hedge fund managers making hundreds of millions a year, who in turn might compare themselves to billionaires like Jeff Bezos. The ceiling is so high, it's virtually unreachable. The key insight is to realize that some things are never worth risking, no matter the potential gain: your reputation, your freedom, your family, your friends, your happiness. Knowing when you have enough is invaluable. Chapter 4. Confounding Compounding. Speaking of invaluable, let's explore the power of compounding. This is where things get truly fascinating. Compounding, in its essence, is when a little growth serves as the fuel for future growth. It sounds simple, but it's so counterintuitive that it's often overlooked. Consider Warren Buffett. We have thousands of books dissecting his investment strategies, trying to uncover the secret. But the simplest, most powerful fact is that Buffett's fortune isn't just because he's a good investor. It's because he's been a good investor since he was literally a child. He started serious investing at age 10. The sheer time he has allowed his money to compound is the greatest driver of his wealth. Contrast this with someone like Jim Simons, a hedge fund manager who compounded money at an incredible 66% annually since 1988, far higher than Buffett's 22%. Yet, Simons is considerably less rich than Buffett. Why? Because Simons didn't hit his stride until he was 50. He's had less than half the years to compound. This illustrates that good investing isn't about earning the highest returns in a short period. It's about earning pretty good returns that you can stick with and repeat for the longest possible time. That's when compounding truly runs wild. Many people chase those huge, one-off returns, but those are rarely sustainable. The real magic happens with consistent, long-term effort. Chapter 5. Getting Wealthy versus Staying Wealthy. And finally, this leads us to the crucial distinction between getting wealthy and staying wealthy. These are two completely different skill sets. Getting money often requires taking risks, being optimistic, and putting yourself out there. But keeping money? That demands the opposite. It requires humility, a healthy dose of paranoia, and frugality. It means accepting that some of your success was due to luck, so you can't rely on past performance indefinitely. Think about Jesse Livermore, one of the greatest stock market traders of his day, who made the inflation-adjusted equivalent of over $3 billion in a single day during the 1929 market crash. Yet, despite his genius at getting wealthy, he was equally terrible at staying wealthy, eventually taking his own life. Why? Because the skills are different. Longevity and survival are paramount. You need to avoid ruin at all costs. Compounding only works if you can remain in the game, surviving the unpredictable ups and downs that life and markets will inevitably throw your way. The ability to stick around, without wiping out or being forced to give up, is what makes the biggest difference over the long run. Common themes section across these first 5 chapters. Several powerful common themes emerge that fundamentally challenge traditional views of finance. First, the book strongly emphasizes that financial success is far less about your intelligence or academic knowledge, and much more about your behavior and mindset. It's not about being the smartest, but about developing the right habits and reactions. Second, a core idea is that financial decisions are deeply emotional, not purely rational acts that can be calculated on a spreadsheet. Our choices are made amidst stress, doubt, opportunities, and temptations, and are heavily influenced by our unique personalities, experiences, and cognitive biases like loss aversion, anchoring, or herd mentality. Understanding why we behave the way we do, rather than just what we should do, is critical. This psychological lens is essential for truly grasping the nuances of money management and making better financial decisions. Outro. So, there you have it, Money Minds. Chapters 1 through 5 of The Psychology of Money reveal that understanding money is far more about understanding ourselves, our behaviors, our emotions, and the subtle forces of luck and time than it is about complex financial formulas. The most important insight from these chapters is that financial success is not solely about smart decisions, but about maintaining the right mindset and behavior over time. It's the ability to keep your emotions in check, avoid the endless pursuit of more, and stick with consistent, humble actions that truly build and preserve wealth. These insights are truly transformative for anyone looking to build a more secure and fulfilling financial life. I encourage you to pick up Morgan Housel's The Psychology of Money for yourself to dive deeper into these timeless lessons. It will undoubtedly shift your perspective on what it means to be truly wealthy. That's all for this episode of The Money Mind, Books That Buoy. So, there you have it. Chapters 1 through 5 of The Psychology of Money reveal something powerful. Understanding money is really about understanding ourselves, our behaviors, our emotions, and how deeply we're influenced by luck and time. The biggest takeaway: financial success isn't just about making smart choices. It's about having the right mindset and sticking to it. It's about staying calm when others panic, avoiding the endless pursuit of more, and committing to simple, consistent actions over the long term. These insights can truly transform the way you approach your financial life and your life as a whole. If this summary sparked something in you, I highly recommend picking up The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Reading it in full will shift the way you think about wealth, risk, and peace of mind. That's it for this episode of the book summary. If you found value in this breakdown, hit the like button, subscribe for more, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, keep learning, keep growing, and keep mastering the psychology of your money. See you in the next one.